Hello everybody and welcome to my rune review. What is a rune review? I'm reviewing the runes. Why am I reviewing the runes? Because I think their design overall is terrible. Why did I just randomly decide that I have this opinion and I need to share it? Because Riot decided to go ahead and nerf Ravenous Hunter again. Citing basically that so many people were taking it. Every AD carry was taking it, blah 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 blah. And I thought to myself, well, obviously every AD carry is taking Ravenous Hunter. Obviously it's disproportionately being taken. There's only a few good runes even in the game anymore. And of course they're gonna take it. So I thought to myself, I haven't made a video on runes in so long. And when I went back and I looked at it, it was basically the same video that it is now. So I said, Hashinshin, why don't you go make a video? And this is, I'm gonna be doing this video from the perspective of potentially if there was a writer who was watching this, what advice could I give them? Now I'm obviously going to keep it comical. How comical? I'm not going to start with the precision tree. We're going to go from the domination tree to the right. Why am I going to do that? Because the precision tree is actually kind of good and it's not as funny when I start there. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go over Keystones. Now, everyone make sure to like and make sure to subscribe. I'm going to do a little bit of a history on the rune system as a whole. Now, it is my personal opinion, and I think it's pretty much the right opinion. I don't think anybody could argue with me on this one, that Riot did the Runes Reforged system, and they didn't put a lot of effort into it. They never really went back and adjusted it. It never met their goals. They've been shuffling developers. The developers have never gone through and helped the system. The system at this point is super archaic. People have min-maxed it, so to speak, and realistically, it's been long overdue for some actual effort being put into it. Now, let's go over some history of the rune system. When it launched, there was no Conqueror. There was no Hail of Blades. Some of the other runes were different, but that's a basic idea. If you were a bruiser, you literally did not have a keystone. Riot actually admit that they forgot to give bruisers a keystone. Yes, the largest class in the game. Mages, on the other hand, had like 9 different keystones. In fact, when you look at on release, how many keystones mages had as a form of do damage, they had Electrocute to do damage. They had Dark Harvest, which I think it was something else at the time. It was do damage. Huh. They had Summonary to do damage. They had Arcane Comet to do damage. They had 4 different flavors of do damage. Just do damage. Literally nothing other than do damage. No bonus effects, nothing. To this day, there are still 4 Keystones who just do damage. People say, oh, a Hashinshin, they're different. Electrocute is if you hit them with abilities, and Dark Harvest is if you hit them and they're at low HP, and okay, Arcane Comet is if you hit them with some slow or something, and Summonary is if you hit them and you're long range and you... So they're all do damage, realistically. Bruisers have a single keystone, which is another reason why I want to make this video. This is why old bruisers go Conqueror. They only got the 1 keystone. There's like Tryndamere goes Lethal Tempo, and that's basically it. So, yeah, I mean, nothing more to say than that. 80 carries, some 3, sometimes 4 keystones. Remember, Hail of Blades was added later. So far as keystones are concerned, mages get a hella diversity. Support's not really, tanks not really, bruisers not really, 80 carries kind of. From the perspective of actually having diversity, utter failure. Remember, they also said they wanted 4, potentially 5 keystones in every category. What do we have? 4, 4, 3, 3, 3. So once again, majority failure to even reach the bare minimum that they said they would push it to. There's my rating on Keystones. Total failure. Total failure. Extremely mage biased. If you're a shield support, you got Summonary. I guess you could also go Guardian. Which, by the way, had to be reworked even to get that far. If you're a tank support, you got Guardian and Aftershock. If you're a top tank, you basically have Grasp and Dying. Sometimes Aftershock, not really these days. Sometimes Unsealed Spellbook. Realistically, yeah, Grasp the Undying. So, yeah, Keystone's pretty much a big failure. As far as the minor runes are concerned, let's go through the minor runes. Let's talk about why it is so difficult for people to pick minor runes and why it is really, let's just say, idiotic how Riot has gone about this. So we've nerfed Ravenous Hunter into the ground. Now, I want to say, I did do a video on runes a long time ago, and if you go back and you watch it, you can see nothing has really changed. So this is practically runes part 2, you know? And yeah, that's basically it. If you look at this, let's look at them, okay? So you got the top tree here. Which one of these excite you? Taste of Blood is kind of okay, because, you know, it's on a longish cooldown. You can sometimes poke around the cooldown. It's, you know, the numbers are at least big enough to be noticeable. Then you got Cheap Shot, which, yeah, I mean, I guess Shen and, like, Lux and Anivia. Basically, if your kit already procs it for you, then you can go it, but that kind of removes some of the fun when... What does Lux do to proc Cheap Shot? She throws her E at you, and then it blows up after slowing you, which procs Cheap Shot. She literally does not change her gameplay at all. Not even slightly. Cool. Wow. Sudden Impact, literally just dumb. Do you spam a lot of gap closers? If so, do more damage. That's it. That's literally what it is. The middle tree, these are probably the most forgettable and idiotic runes in the entire game. Zombie Ward is okay. I mean, it's somewhat noticeable, I guess. Ghost Poro, I see this so rarely. Eyeball Collection, yeah, when you kill people, do more damage. Wow, great. Unique thought there. These bottom ones are probably the most interesting. Unfortunately, these three have historically been understat so much, and Ingenious Hunter didn't even exist, I don't think. Relentless Hunter got nerfed into the ground because auto combat movement speed on roaming mid laners tends to be extraordinarily overpowered. Which leaves Ravenous Hunter. Why does it get picked so much? Because it's like the only goddamn rune in this tree that actually does something. The only other one is Taste of Blood, sometimes Cheap Shot. That's basically it. Sorcery. Why does nobody go Sorcery anymore, really? Can someone tell me the good rune in Sorcery these days? Okay, so let's look at the top tree. And this is really why, even if people could go Arcane Comet, you often see them not. Because, let's talk about this tree. Look at the top one. Do you want movement speed? No? Oh. Do you have mana? Oh, no? Are you fighting a magic damage dealer? No? Oh, well, then choose which one is the least shitty. Which, I don't believe you should have a system designed where people are choosing the least shitty option. That doesn't fill people with enjoyment and confidence, does it? Oh boy, do I want to go into the precision tree and choose these cool runes, or do I want to choose my least shitty option? But let's look at the second tree. Do you want ability haste, but not early game and not that much of it? And I guess if you kill someone, you get your cooldowns refunded, but only on your basic abilities, which after stacking ability haste will be on a much lower cooldowns. Oh. Do you want 1% movement speed? Do you want damage, but only if you're at high HP, but it's been nerfed so hard for the early game that it's only 1.8 damage at level 1, and oh. What, you guys don't want to slot in a secondary for 1.8 damage? Couldn't even get to 2? No? 1.8? And then down here, do you want Gathering? No, we're not even going to talk about Gathering Storm. Oh yeah, I'm sure getting 0 to 5 AD for the majority of the game is the real winner. Do you want to fight for Scuttler? No? Then you're going to do damage. No, that's it. You'll just do a little bit of damage every 10 seconds. A little bit of magic damage. You don't want that? You don't want the non-scaling early game ranged harass rune? Why not? Wow, what a beautiful tree Sorcery is. So we got Domination, where you got Ravenous Hunter and Taste of Blood are at least okay. And then you got Sorcery. And I don't really give a shit about Sorcery. you can disagree with me, but Resolve, okay, Resolve is some good ones, I'll give you that. Demolish, unique. And that's one thing I want to talk about here. How many of these are unique? How many of these do something? Okay, so Ravenous Hunter does something. Taste of Blood does something, right? Cheap Shot, Sudden Impact, do damage. All of these, vision, damage. These, I guess they do something, but that's why I say this is the only one that's good. Sorcery, what the fuck is this tree? I mean, maybe if Nullifying Orb applied to like all damage and not just magic damage, and at the very least it was like a, but like what the fuck? What? Just what? And then we got Resolve. Okay, Demolish does something, good rune. Shield Bash does something, good rune. Fauna Life, a little bit underpowered, but it does something. Conditioning, kind of boring. 12 minutes, then you're tankier. Okay. Second Wind, Bone Plating. These two, decent options, right? I mean, you look at your lane opponent, you can choose which one. It does feel like when you slot into the Resolve tree, especially as a secondary, that you can be like, oh no, I'm against Teemo. I'll go Second Wind, right? Like that feels good. How many are like, oh no, I'm against Teemo, better go Nullifying Orb. But you'll say, yeah, Hashinshin. What about when you're against a burst champion? Then you can go, no, because then you're just going to go Bone Plating. Oh, you say, I didn't think of that. So down here, we got some good ones. We got Revitalize, unique, pretty cool. Overgrowth, a little bit boring. You gain HP, but still unique, pretty cool. Unflinching, Tenacity and Slow Resist goes higher. Once again, unique, pretty cool. Resolve Tree, at least it's decent, right? Now, these are slot-inable. That's what I'm saying. Resolve Tree, slot-inable. Why do you think, and this is just my opinion, why do you think the three trees everybody slots into are Precision, Domination, Resolve, sometimes Inspiration, which I'll get into, but once you butcher the shit out of Ravenous, what, you think people are gonna slot in for like Taste of Blood and Ultimate Hunter? You think, no. So then we got Inspiration. Now, let's talk about Inspiration. Now, this tree's been nerfed into the ground because, okay, Domination originally, let's talk about this. Originally, Domination had good Keystones and weak runes. They literally said they did that. So, the runes have been shit, and they never have gone back and actually made them not shit. There's been an issue ever since Runes Reforged launched. They buffed the numbers on them, they've adjusted them, but realistically, these runes are still shit. Overall, Inspiration was given good runes and weak Keystones. Don't ask why they did it, they just did. I'm not gonna go into it, I'm not gonna defend it, I'm not gonna talk about it. They just did. Okay? So, the first category, good choices. Heztech, Flash Traption, that's a good choice. Magical Footwear, a little bit boring, but it does, effectively read. After 12 minutes, get some gold and some movement speed. Perfect timing, dumbest rune ever. Who the fuck puts a goddamn invulnerability on a rune? But at least it does something, right? Like it gives you the choice, I guess. Second category, we got Futures Market, a little bit underpowered, but okay. Yeah, I mean, I can see it, right? Like, it's unique, it's cool. You got Minion Dematerializer, which has been nerfed into the absolute ground and nobody ever picks anymore. Biscuit Delivery, okay, that's cool. Early game, basically infinite mana, which, look, we're past the point of caring. I'm not gonna care. Oh no, you can get infinite mana. I don't care. Like, it's just dumb. Third tree, okay, these are also good choices. I mean, you got the Cosmic Insight, Approach Velocity, Time Warp Tonic. They're not the strongest, and Time Warp Tonic is basically, do you use Flask? If so, this'll do something. If not, well, then it won't. Approach Velocity, a little bit, but at least it does something. Cosmic Insight, yeah, I mean, it's okay. So, do you see the problem here? Do you see how many runes I've actually been excited by going for? We've got Ravenous Hunter, sometimes Taste of Blood, Second Wind, Bone Plating, Demolish, yeah. Sometimes revitalize. Sometimes unflinching. So like we got 2 runes here, basically none here after they nerfed Nimbus Cloak. But to be fair, they should have nerfed Nimbus Cloak. That shit was very broken. Very, very broken. Demolish, we got like 4 or 5. Inspiration, we got like 3 or 4. Do you see the problem here? There's really not that many runes that are exciting to go. Remember, there's supposed to be 4 runes in every category. We've only got a single thing in a single, what do you even want to call these? The rune thingy bobbers, okay? We only got 1 that ever got to 4. Resolve had 4 for a little bit and 1, and I think Inspiration had some, but realistically, no. They never even got to that. Okay, so then we got Resolve. I mean, it just, like, yeah. And so that's kind of the problem. When you look at runes that actually do noticeable effects that you want to take, let's look at all of them. Outside of Precision, at any rate, for now. You got Cheap Shot, kind of. Taste of Blood, kind of. Ravenous Hunter, kind of. Maybe Ingenious Hunter, because they just buffed the crap out of it. It's Nimbus Cloak, and that's, I mean, Celerity, Water Walking if you're a jungler who fights for Scuttler. Bone Plating, Second Wind, Demolish. These 3 of them, really, it's Unflinching is the most noticeable. So really, you know, those 4. Inspiration, I mean, Flash Traption, Footwear, Perfect Timing. Sometimes Time Warp Tonic, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's just none. Now, here's the problem with the Precision tree. Once again, Conqueror is the only bruiser keystone in the game. So there's an issue here. Obviously, there's obviously an issue where all bruisers have to go Conqueror. Now, all these runes actually are pretty good. Now, Overheal's been nerfed into the ground because champions like Aphelios were abusing it. Presence of Mind, yeah, it's good. People like it. People go it. It's noticeable. Once again, look, everyone has unlimited mana, so don't complain that you can go unlimited, okay? Then you got Triumph, which, yeah, Triumph is noticeable. People like Triumph. It's a good rune. It's one of the few runes in the game. Again, it's one of those. It's like amongst the top noticeable runes. It's there with Bone Plating. I mean, what are the most noticeable runes? Probably like Bone Plating, Triumph, Heztech, Flash Trap. Why I can't pronounce it. Flash Traption. You know, and maybe Ravenous Hunter. And so really, you know, it's up there. It's good. Down here, these are strong. All of them are strong. They might not be the most noticeable. The most noticeable is probably Legend Tenacity in the right situation of these. Sometimes Legend Bloodline, even though it's been nerfed a billion times. It's, you know, these are, once again, they're okay. And then down here, these are boring. You got multiple forms of do damage. And this one reads, only do more damage to tanks, but only if you're squishy, which is odd, to say the least. It's odd that there's a rune that literally reads, if you're squishy and they're not squishy, then you do more damage to them, which I guess that at least is a theme, but okay. So, do you see the problem? I hope I'm making myself clear here. Riot really needs to go back. First off, we need more Keystones, please. There is still 1 Keystone for Bruisers. What are we, like 5 years or some shit after they launch? Bruisers have the 1 Keystone still? Still? And all these other runes are boring. They're all boring. These are, I want to say something like 80% of the runes are extremely forgettable and boring. And you only really go the runes that are actually decent. And of the runes that are actually decent, a lot of them don't even feel that impactful. You're just choosing, yeah, that one's, I mean, like, oh, yeah, I'll go Scorch. I mean, at least it does something, right? Okay. Now, they can't all be Bone Plating. They can't all be Triumph. If you had 5 runes and they were all huge, then that would probably be too much. But the second problem is when they're not Bone Plating and Triumph, then people tend to just go into it they're just gonna grab Ravenous Hunter, or they're gonna grab Bone Plating, because realistically, what other choices do you have? You know, each tree kind of has two options that are the default. Like precision, these generally speaking, or this kind of form your default, right? Some people like this, but you see what I mean? Realistically, like if you're an 80 Curie, you can kind of go for like this sort of stuff, right? Or maybe this sort of stuff. If you're secondarying into precision, a lot of people will just do that, or maybe they'll do that. You know what I mean? So yeah, if you're secondary into domination, 90% of people are doing that. If you're going into resolve, most people are going to do some form of that. You see what I mean? Each tree kind of has a few things that are good, but the majority are not. You're not going to see Minion Dematerializer combined with Time Warp Atomic, or Minion Dematerializer Pro. You're not going to see this. You're just not going to see it. You're just not. And that's, if Riot wants to continue to nerf, I know I'm droning on at this point, so let me try to finish it. If Riot wants to continue to nerf Ravenous Hunter, and they want to continue to nerf the runes that are good, can we please, at some point, add more Keystones, add more mini runes, go back and address some of the ones that are just total duds. This entire line, dud. This line, dud. This line, okay, you know what? The entire sorcery tree at this point is a dud. I hate this tree. This is a boring tree. If I had to put it in a tier list, F, super F, boring, super boring. I don't think I've gone into the sorcery tree in literally, like, I mean, basically since Nimbus Cloak got nerfed, right? That was it. I mean, I didn't give a shit. Nimbus Cloak should have been nerfed. Yes, it was very overpowered, and still to this day on the right champions, it is strong. I'll give you that. So the tree isn't a total dud. Some people do like Nimbus Cloak, but this tree, wow, what a dud. What a just fall flat on your face with this tree, man. So there's my critique on runes. Can we get more runes? Can we get more Keystones? Can we get them to be more impactful? That's it. So thank you all. If you made it through all this stuff, thank you all for watching. Thank you for my rune review, okay? And please like, please subscribe, please join my Patreon. The description is in the link. No, the link is in the description. 2 times the charm. And you can join. It's a mere $3 to join. Helps me out immensely, especially with the whole YouTube and all that. Not going to get into that again. I get into that in a lot of my videos. Not going to into that. So thank you for my Patreon people. If you don't, that's fine too. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Just watching and being here. I appreciate you all. Thank you all. Have a great day. Great rest of your time. Thank you all. Goodbye.